Taking the absolute out of Call of Duty games feels like punching upwards to me. I guess because it's a franchise excreted annually by Activision, one of the worst companies in the world, but I don't feel guilty ripping into this game. But on the other hand, you've got the 3 development studios, Sledgehammer, Infinity Ward, and Treyarch, the developers of Black Ops 3, that have all been trapped into a horrifying creative purgatory of pumping out the same game on a factory-like rotation year after year, tasked with the impossible feat of developing a good Call of Duty multiplayer, zombies mode, and narrative campaign within 3 years, whilst meeting Activision's ever-growing profit expectations. I have a lot of sympathy for that, and the sheer level of quality found in Black Ops 3's multiplayer and zombies mode make it a decent entry into the series overall. But this video is specifically about the campaign, which is, fascinating. Now, I'm not above a good Call of Duty campaign. In fact, the original Black Ops and Modern Warfare series were some of the most formative shooters I've ever played. However, Black Ops 3's campaign tends to sit quite low on people's rankings, often with the game's convoluted narrative being the main source of criticism. Yeah, they were right about that. In fact, this whole video is going to be me trying and probably failing to explain this game's story. Released in 2015, Black Ops 3 has basically no relationship to the first 2 games, other than a throwaway piece of dialogue and the presence of Nova 6, a toxic gas, which at least means it's a standalone story, one set 40 years after the events of Black Ops 2, making it the new first futuristic Black Ops game, because Black Ops 2 was set in 2025, making it not futuristic anymore. Do you feel old yet? So without any further ado, let's ask a very simple question. Was Black Ops 3's campaign any good? So Mission 1 starts with one of those bleary opening sequences with news reporters talking about the state of the world. We got climate change disasters, we got political unrest, we've got crows and eyes and metaphorical foreshadowing that means nothing to us yet. There's mention of bio-augmentation, which means we're going to play a souped-up super soldier in this one. We're then introduced to the disembodied voice of
Jacob Hendricks,
who was nice enough to get a name, because we didn't. We're just player. We have a voice, but no name, which is an interesting decision given we have a lot of dialogue and stake in the story, so we're far from a silent protagonist, but something tells me character writing isn't this game's strength. Our mission is to rescue the Prime Minister of Egypt, Said, who's been taken hostage inside an airport in Ethiopia by a faction called the NRC, or Nile River Coalition if you bothered to check the wiki. Hope you like acronyms and initialisms, because there's lots coming. That's a lot of text scrolling by too fast to read. Hope it's not important. Anyway, let's bring down a plane.
Oh, hey, look, a civilian airliner.
firing. Get out!
Now, I'm just going to look at it and take some shrapnel to the face. I can't move for some reason. Turns out the game had unbound all my keys. Why had it done that? Hello. These 3 generic grunts of the same name and character model. We're off to a good start. Turns out the same's true for corpses as well. Oh, except that one, technically. Now, there's no war crimes to see out here.
We need to get inside the security station.
No, I'm going to see how long it takes them to get this fire out. They never do. Let's explore the out-of-bound areas to see what happens. I missed the death screens from other CoDs where it'd say shit like, always wipe from the front to the back lest you get on your balls. Sun Tzu. I suppose it's a good thing they don't let me shoot at the wounded. But that's okay. If I can't get my sick kicks in a video game, I'll just go back to
carving people up.
Just like my new role model Hendricks Gin here. I guess we're dressed the same as the NRC, hence why they're not reacting to us being here. Who even are they and what do they want? Not much is explained so far. All I do know is it's a bad day to be a security guard.
Get plugged in and locate the minister.
Other hostages. I thought it was only the minister.
So did I.
I'm getting flashbacks to a misspent youth on Live League playing this.
The NRC are known for their brutality.
They must be if they'd whack a man in his pee-pee.
The minister is the only priority.
Are we just gonna leave him to be tortured?
We have our orders. That's him, the minister.
I hope he's not lactose intolerant. They then move Said whilst my character points into an interrogation room whilst my character points.
ETA?
2 minutes.
2 minutes. I'll be timing you.
Son of a is never funny.
You sound like the voice of experience.
Trust me, I am.
That's funny. Oh, thank God we can finally shoot. And yep, it's a Call of Duty game, all right. You got the light whiff of auto-aim when you ADS. You got the tomato sauce around the edge of the screen to indicate how much damage you've taken. You know, it's fine. You can shoot through cover in this one and accidentally get a Steam achievement for it. I hope this doesn't trivialize the gameplay. After we'd secured the area outside the interrogation room, I stopped to admire the screams of the soldiers we definitely don't have time to save. Now it's time to bust Said out of there with a classic Call of Duty breach sequence, where Hendricks kills them all. Said persuades us to rescue his mate Khalil from the next cell over because he was a hero of something called the Cairo Uprising, meaning the NRC would
make an example of him.
Probably with more milk and willy punches, to which Henderson's relish happily obliges.
All right, let's go.
Indoor voice, please, Hendricks. So we move to the next cell over and cut Khalil down, then get lightly accosted by Taylor for not following orders and rescuing more men.
+1. Your orders were to extract the minister.
His name is Lieutenant Khalil. Sound familiar?
Get moving.
That's a lot of fanfare for a man that's not going to show up again until mission 7. Just say the line, please, Hendricks.
Get ready to go loud.
Thank you. Quench the bloodlust. Quench the bloodlust. Do a pointless slide and nearly die for it. Remember, switching to your sidearm after reloading is faster than reloading. Some of the bad guys are armored, some of the bad guys aren't, but I couldn't really really tell the difference because I kind of just slid around everywhere like a tactical snake. I then shot the Egyptian Prime Minister by accident. Whoops. I then shot the Egyptian Prime Minister on purpose. Whoops. And made it to the lift.
Drop your weapon.
Uh-oh.
Lower them now.
We're dead if we do. Trust me, we're dead if we don't.
Oh look, Taylor's here to show us how it's done.
You're late. Your imaginary watch is fast.
Yeah, good one.
You still seeing Rachel?
I'm not sure that's an appropriate question.
That didn't work out.
Okay, I guess we're doing this now.
That's a pity.
New blood? Gonna take care of him as good as you did me?
Who, me? That's not who he just looked at.
That's not funny, man.
I honestly thought that guy in the back just despawned. No, he just has an invisibility cloak. When do I get to do that? I can't even pick up other people's guns yet. It's a good job there's an ammo pickup everywhere. Scratch what I said earlier, you can shoot the wounded. That's the general public safe for another night. Now it's time to crack open a hangar window, run across the wing of an aeroplane and shoot some more bad guys. This guy did a cool jump. When do I get to do that? Another hangar cleared. No need to hang around.
Try and keep up, alright?
When do I get to do? At this point in the game, I'm starting to feel like less of a badass than my teammates. Oh. When do I get? Just kidding, who cares about wall running? Then some guy called Moretti hacks this building's electrical systems to shut off the lights, giving us a night vision takedown sequence I took very seriously. The night vision in this game sucks and often makes it harder to see. Oh no, a VTOL.
Hold your fire, he's mine.
When do I get? I reckon it's going to be fun to count how many VTOLs go down in this game. You ready for more character building dialogue?
You guys hear that? You hearing things already? That itchy finger of yours is infecting your ears. Hey.
It's just like my parents' divorce all over again. Oh no, robots! Except you're not supposed to fight them, you're supposed to flee into a hangar where Hendrix suddenly cares about the hostages we left behind.
You can get them out.
Not a mission priority.
It may not be a mission priority, but they're still people, damn it.
That's rich coming from you, the man who reacts like this.
All right, let's go.
When being asked to save a hostage yourself.
Are we just gonna leave him to be tortured?
We have our orders.
What a conflicted man.
That's not funny, man.
Anyway, Taylor agrees to go back for the hostages whilst we extract the minister. So that means it's time for an over-the-top turret section where everything explodes in a couple bullets. Enemy vehicles, VTOLs, even this random guard tower I shot at for no reason. Then we crash into nothing, but our character's thrown out anyway. 5 full seconds of rolling, and it's time to defend an exfil pod. But you don't get in yourself. Oh no, the pod is left without us. We then get grabbed and thrown by a robot, who then proceeds to pull our arm off, but thankfully not our one. Fold our leg up like a bit of IKEA furniture, and then punch our face so hard it pulls our arm off. And if that wasn't bad enough, he then proceeds to punch me in the a few times. Oh well, the sweet release of death will take me away.
You'll be alright. Just hang in there.
Never mind, we survived. Or did we? This level is a decent tutorial for the game's most basic mechanics, and the frequency of the set pieces held my attention. But in terms of story, we've been given nothing to care about other than a faceless enemy faction whose motivations are unknown to us, cringy dialogue meant to make Hendrix sound badass, and some people to save, but don't ask why, because Saeed never shows up again, and Khalil not until Mission 7. If you thought Mission 2 was going to answer the questions raised in Mission 1, you are sorely mistaken. In fact, now we're going to be bombarded with even more faceless faction names, so prepare yourself. Anyway, our body is being prepped for surgery right now so they can try and save our life with cybernetics. Imagine dying in a war only to wake up and get sent back to the front again. You'd think you were in hell. All aboard the exposition train.
Welcome back.
Touching myself's going to suck now.
Am I dreaming?
Well, let's say you are. Why not just go with it, right? After all, you can always wake up.
What? Taylor then gets up and just starts sounding off. Look how big this subtitle is. Also, he tripped up on the word specialized.
Specialized.
I'll try my best to summarize for you. We're on a train heading to the headquarters of the Coalescence Corporation in Zurich, which is a global tech company that would have received the train's shipment of special AI software that can integrate with any system in the world if a terrorist cell didn't instead make it go boom. We're not actually on the train? No, of course not, you goofy dingus. Whilst we were unconscious, they put something called a direct neural interface, or DNI, in our spine, which lets us communicate via brain simulations with other DNI users like Jake Gyllenhaal's dad in a sauna here.
The incident sent back our robotics program several years. You're here to stop it.
The robotics program of something called the Winslow Accord, which is a faction of cyber soldiers created by the CIA that Taylor is a part of, and I guess us now. I'll save you a headache. Here's a list of factions we've been introduced to, and here's the factions that aren't just set dressing for the plot. Boom! Now we're at some steel mill where Taylor explains that the Zurich Security Forces, or ZSF, tried to fight the terrorists and lost. He then says,
Outcome? Train go boom.
For the first time. Then Diaz shows up, who you won't remember from ripping a hangar window open, to give us the worst handshake in gaming history.
Communication, brother. We all gotta be in sync.
You can't go for a secret handshake with someone you just met, then blame them.
Yo, Taylor. You didn't hear
You have provided me no insight whatsoever. This time I have a silenced burst-fire rifle, which is clearly the gun they give the most experienced of soldiers. And it turns out our direct neural interface has a tactical mode, which basically gives us wall hacks. Thank you, Titanfall, for inspiring every shooter after you to put fucking wall running in it, even though it adds nothing to the gameplay loop. And I love how many times the game advertises wall running to you by making the characters do it. But considering there's always an alternate route right next to it that doesn't need wall running, it only served to highlight how useless a feature it is. And there was something about red kill zones on the floor. I don't know, I was too busy punching people. The level design so far has actually been pretty good, and the game inundates you with alternate paths and ways to take down your opponents. But you're not really incentivized to use any of it because you've got wall hacks and can shoot through cover. But we haven't been introduced to half the game's mechanics yet. So you look, Diaz is going to waffle on about how we can use our DNI to connect to anything, including these combat drones. So I picked myself out this nice looking baby tank and then accidentally blew it up by pressing E. You see, the game is introducing us to our cybercore abilities, like this one that lets us hack robotic enemies, which is pretty cool, and a lot of care has been put into littering the levels with hackable enemies. It's just I didn't use it much because all the abilities are split into 3 cybercores you have to equip separately. We'll talk more about that later. Nevertheless, we zap this door open and have a PTSD breakdown over the number of robots in this room.
Take a deep breath in and tell me what happened.
The ripped all my limbs off and punched me in the sausage. Diaz assures us we'll be fine before asking us to interface with this console and instantly process all the data on it via the MacGuffin device in me bonds.
They had a man on the inside at Coalescence.
Ooh, is this a villain? What's his name? Xavier? Oh, it's gone. I'm sure he'll be really important.
He would have been able to supply them with everything they needed to bypass the security on the train.
Then Taylor shows up to say,
Outcome? Train go boom.
for the second time. Now we're at the world-famous high-rise apartments where Zurich security forces are closing in on Xavier, except somebody tipped him off, so he blasts the ZSF with some willy punching bots and then jumps out a window. Then Taylor shows up to say,
Outcome? Train go boom.
for the third fucking time.
Remember Specialist Sarah Hall?
No? Oh wait, yeah, it's the person who interrupted my joke and ran on a wall.
She's an intelligence expert from back when that actually meant something.
At least Sarah knows how to shake someone's hand. I guess we're chasing Xavier now. What's this?
Check your fire. Civilians are not targets.
I feel so alive. Hey, look, an opportunity to actually use wall running. So alive. Then we get to try another ability called
System paralysis.
which disables drones and robots.
You're getting the hang of this, aren't you?
Yes, mummy. There's Xavier, the slippery bastard. What's your surname? Oh, he's dead already.
I reckon our suspect has about 15 seconds left before he shakes hands with the Grim Reaper.
Probably still a better handshake than Diaz.
You can't let that happen. Not before you get the information we need.
So because Xavier has a DNI too, we can scour his brain for the information we need on the terrorist plot to make her.
Train go boom.
Sarah then reassures us that
Not only will this procedure be deeply traumatic for the subject, but the associated subconscious interference will leave him brain dead.
so thank God for that. Bish bash bosh, and we know where they are.
They're using the old train tunnel to plan their attack.
Oh look, Taylor's back.
What do you think I'm gonna say next?
I'm on the edge of my seat right now.
Outcome? Train go boom.
Now we're at the terrorist hideout in some old subway tunnels where Zurich security forces got their ass handed to them again. Taylor reintroduces us to Bira Moretti, who you won't remember from turning some lights off.
I bet D has 100 that you'd be dead by now. When this is over, you owe me 100.
First of all, the person you bet on doesn't owe you the money, and second of all, besides,
Train go boom.
we get to meet a likeable character. Anyway, the reason we're here is to find out how the terrorists got the bomb onto the train. We're then granted the Firefly Swarm ability. You would not believe your eyes if 10 million fireflies seared your fucking skin off. Whilst these abilities add flavour to the combat, they're not really necessary, given you can just shoot through cover with wall hacks on. I suppose I could just not use the tools it's given me to optimise the fun out of the game, especially since there's mobile armories everywhere, so I guess we'll give stuff a go. Like this sniper rifle. This is the first of 4 snipers you can unlock, and it's already this powerful. Imagine getting no scope through a floor. Hey look, a model train. Honestly, these wall hacks trivialise the gameplay so much that even after bumping the difficulty up to hard, and these baby tanks still weren't able to threaten me. In fact, I ended up playing most of these missions on veteran. But that is not bragging rights in this game, and I don't want to suffer through realistic where you die in a single hit. Just know that difficulty-wise, this game is very much a power fantasy, especially when compared to the unrelenting brutality of World at War's veteran and hardened campaign. Another hack terminal later, and now we know how they got the bomb on board.
They hacked the security robots. They brought the explosives on board.
You're telling me nobody thought of that? Now we're back on the roof of the train go boom, where Taylor explains the terrorist attacks ironically helped the creation of the Winslow Accord cyber soldier program. Moral of the story being terrorism's bad.
Watch the sieves.
Oh, shut up, they're not real. I gently bumped into this lady and she died of rudeness. Now it's time to learn how to do takedowns.
That's how you
I died here a lot. Not because it was hard, but because I couldn't figure out how to trigger takedowns reliably. In other games, takedowns are typically only from behind, but in this game you can do it from any direction as far away as this. But if you're too close, the prompt disappears and you just punch the air in front of them like a dickhead. I fumbled the prompt so many times, but I eventually got the rhythm of it, and chaining takedowns is incredibly satisfying. I just gotta suck less. Whilst performing actions like slides or takedowns, you don't take damage, meaning you're rewarded for playing aggressively. These are welcome additions that freshen up the gameplay loop, and what's better is they don't all fight for the same button on my keyboard like the cybercore abilities do. That's the ground pound one, but I barely used it. That's a big robot under that tarp. Anyway, we found the bomb. Problem is, if we tamper with it...
Train go boom.
So Taylor gives us some sage advice.
It's actually very simple.
Okay. Player then separates the carriage by reversing the polarity of the maglev train and blows himself up anyway.
There was no way to stop it and get off the train.
Oh, I see. The soldiers are disposable.
Sometimes you have to let go.
Is this a theme emerging?
How's our patient? As good as can be expected. I expect better.
This guy's name is Sebastian Kruger, and he's not going to show up again until the final mission. All that, and we haven't even undergone surgery yet. This was a decent tutorial for the game's more advanced mechanics, but narratively it had no continuity with the previous mission. Everything we just experienced was a simulation used by the Winslow Accord to train its cyber soldiers in terrorism prevention. The only other important thing we learned is that Coalescence is developing some kind of special AI software which will become relevant later. By this point in the game I didn't really know what was going on, but that's okay, maybe the next mission will have some continuity. Nope, we're about to be inundated with even more faction names. However, I am happy to report that the main narrative arc is about to start. It's just a shame the set pieces are about to take a nosedive. But before we get into all of that, I decided to check out the safe house, which triggers a cutscene that indicates 5 years have passed since the previous mission.
How long have we been doing this, Hendricks?
5 years, give or take.
Sounds about right.
Skip. Ah, this must be the sad man cave, where you can ponder all the tat you've found, cry over your lack of service medals, and read more about the game's lore on a laggy terminal. No thanks. It's where we can also upgrade our ability. Wait, is that a paint job customizer? I hereby call this masterpiece Fatten Nut. I am a fully grown man. We'll talk more about the safe room when we come back, but for now, let's get out of here because it stinks of divorce. Now we're in Singapore, where it's time for a mission briefing that's as clear as a skid mark. A local CIA black station has gone dark, which was set up to watch the area after something called the Singapore disaster leveled half the city. Turns out the Singapore disaster was an explosion at a coalescence facility that killed 300,000 people. Now the ruins are controlled by a criminal gang known as the 54 Immortals, who, one cannot lie, have the best drip. We're being sent in to find out why the black station went dark, given the 54 Immortals have links to something called the CDP. Another faction I had to look up because the game never explains them to you. It stands for Common Defense Pact, which is the main opposition of the Winslow Accord and the CIA on a wider geopolitical scale. Thank me later. Anyway, here's the chocolate bar scene.
Oh man. I can't even begin to tell you how good this tastes.
It's even got the vein.
You know, you could get a mod that makes everything taste good.
A mod that makes everything taste good. Finally, I can eat those dog eggs at the park.
If I did that, I'd never get to appreciate the real thing.
He says after taking one bite and f***ing it across the floor, before chucking a missile launcher at my face, doing a funny jump out of the VTOL and saying,
In this lawless shithole, we can actually feel good. That are by any means necessary mandate.
yeah, I reckon that'll fly in the War Crimes Tribunal.
When the full force of the storm hits, we'll be looking at 150-mile-per-hour winds.
Oh, and a little doohickey to hold me in place. I'm sure this will lead to some fun, emergent gameplay.
Moving in to scramble the 54 Immortals' communication systems.
Yeah, cool plan, Hendricks, but this Rachel Kane here's got a better one. The CIA have intel in the black site they don't want leaked. But the Immortals have already breached the black site and are sending a literal shipment of sensitive data to the CDP, so we've got to go stop them. But I don't see what the point is. Whatever's going on in that black site, the CIA will just admit to in a few years when it's not politically relevant. Anyway, let's watch a public execution. The Immortals then show this guy his beaten up spouse, whilst Hendricks starts yapping about how they trade in human flesh. Hey, you're damaging the flesh.
They sell people for whatever purpose you may want them.
Unless that purpose involves them still having heads. Hendricks then contemplates intervening, but this time we're the one who secretly wants to watch them die.
Not our mission.
The lady screams, head go boom. I don't think that's how you traffic people, but what do I know? Yeah, let's start shooting now so it doesn't look like we just watched that happen. The micro missile launch is cool, I guess, but I didn't use it much because I found spamming takedowns way funnier. Give the whole thing a Looney Tunes vibe. Oh, I can pick up guns now.
Superstorm's winds are gonna hit harder as we move to higher ground. Get ready to plant that bull driver and hold the f*** on.
This section f***ing sucks. It boils down to slowly trudging up this street whilst wind blows you back every few feet. Unless you hold E to use your bolt driver and get pushed back a little anyway. I nearly made it first try, but then this super soldier got blown by the wind like a plastic bag from Greg's. Boom, a cool drone strike. Let's see if I can make the jump to that building over there. Then I had to do the wind section again. Alright, fine, I'll take the blame for that death, but this checkpoint sucks. Now it's time to do the same thing with waves, because nothing makes me feel like a badass super soldier quite like getting battered about by weather effects. Shoot the guys, hold E. Shoot the guys, hold E. Throw back a grenade last second, then fall through a gap between the boat and the dock. Let's give overwhelming force a go. Well, that was goofy. Whoops. I gave this gun a go. It shoots through cover like the rest of them do. Are you telling me the Immortals couldn't think of a better way of sending that data than putting the whole terminal in a shipping crate? I suppose they don't have the internet in this shithole. Oh no!
Storm's getting worse.
And it's pushing a derelict oil tanker towards us. But don't worry, we've still got time for the jankiest Call of Duty breach sequence I've ever seen, where after you finish shooting these three guys, the camera violently jolts upwards and teleports you to the table. I sure hope you've got a plan for this one, Hendricks. That That would have killed us. Never mind, we just clipped through it. This sequence is so stupidly over the top, I respect it. Bang! Oof, ow, oof, ow. Of course we're fine. Let's get swimming. Kane tells us to hurry up because intel on our allies' weaknesses have been leaked to the CDP. What better plot motivation is there than protecting data for the CIA? Right, I'm bored of giving other guns a go. Let's bust out the fatter nut. Here we are at the Immortals Comm Center where Hendricks sends out some fireflies. An ability I can't do yet, even though I bought the upgrade for it at the safe house. Turns out it's because even though you can buy the upgrades, you can't choose which of the 3 cores you're using until you hit level 10. I didn't realize this until 5 missions in. So for now, I guess I'll just nut on them instead. Just as I got bored of sniping everything, the game freshens things up by throwing riot shield enemies at you, so I sniped all of them as well. I swear I could pick up people's guns, but now I can't. Turns out this is also an ability you need to equip at the safe house as part of your tac rig. But until I realised this, it just felt like the game kept giving me abilities and taking them away. Oh no! A warlord! It's a good job he's only shooting the gap between us. So Hendricks has the idea to just shoot his shield. Wait, that worked? Doesn't matter because someone else is shooting him multiple times. Alright, Kane, stop milking it.
You guys okay back there?
Agent Kane? I thought I told you to stay up top.
There's just something so about this game's dialogue. I guess drab is the best word for it, with the game's serious tone being constantly undermined by my fugly weapon skin. Kane hacks the computer, but the Immortals have rerouted all comms, so sorry player, the data is at another relay. It's a good job the new relay is just up the road, which, would you believe it, is another ruined multi-story building full of bots to punch. I got a 2-for-1 on these bozos. Move the robot, do some blue zaps with your robot arm, and the Immortals have no comms, so now it's time to meet Kane at the CIA black site that went dark. At this point, I'm wandering around enjoying the atmosphere and the rain and particle effects and the environmental detail, all of which sells the vibe of a city ruined by war and climate change way better than that wave pool crap. Anyway, we're at the black site, but there's Immortals there, so you know what that means. We almost ran out of ammo there. Then the game commits the cardinal sin of making us wait for an NPC to open a door, except it's not a door, it's a girder propped up against the door.
The hell tore through here? Something left in a hurry.
Could be 54i grunt detonations.
Yeah, maybe if the doors were blown in, but they're blown out.
Like your mum's funny would. Are you f***ing joking?
You hear that? There's someone in there.
There's no need for brute force. Sometimes you just need to knock.
Wow, you're so cool. We finally get inside, and oh good lord, these poor CIA dudes have had their eyes cut out. Kane tells us the execution method they endured is similar to something called the denial of reincarnation, which is often perpetrated by some 54 Immortals guy called Jae Jong, who doesn't turn out to be very important. Hang on a minute, the data drives are gone. If that information gets out, then
It would compromise every CIA operation around the world.
now who's going to overthrow all those democratically elected governments? It's alright though, the drives have a tracker and Kane's located them at some nearby biodome, which is also
The heart of 54 Immortals operations and home of brother-sister team and leaders, Go Min and Go Julon.
I wonder how long these villains will last.
So let's go get our drives and give them a little payback.
Not so fast, Jimi Hendrix. Kane isn't fully convinced it was the Immortals that killed these CIA operatives, and is about to pull some accusations out of her ass.
So who do you think did it?
The last recorded operation at this station
Pause for dramatic effect.
involved a Winslow Accord Black Cyber Ops unit.
Was that a Vine
It
boom?
was John Taylor's team.
John Taylor did it? That makes it a Vine go boom. I have so many questions about this whole sequence. Like, how did Kane glean any of this information? And more importantly, why does player sound like he's taking full damage whenever he speaks?
What? You think they had something to do with these murders?
And Hendrix is all like, nah, Taylor wouldn't do that, bro. I know him, bro. Then we unceremoniously fade to black and I got a Steam achievement. Congratulations, only 3 missions in, we've now started the main story, in that we're trying to find out why Taylor's team turned heel and killed those people. Maybe mission 4 will give us some answers. Nope, we're just going to run around protecting data for the CIA again. Quick stop at the safe house to pick up the emergency reserve perk, which, as you'll see later, carried me through this game. During the cutscene, everyone ponders whether Train Go Boom Man is compromised or not. Ooh, I'm on the edge of my seat. Either way, we've got to get those drives back off the goes. Hendrix suggests we speak to his favourite drug dealer in the area, Danny Lee.
The 54 Immortals have never been stronger.
You're still relying on enforcers like Jae Jong?
Just a reminder, that's the guy who apparently likes to cut people's eyes out.
Nobody's seen him in years.
Probably because he keeps cutting their eyes out. Danny then pivots the conversation back to the robots we're supposedly selling him, and Hendrix is all like, these are code black.
Don't care about black, Hendrix. Care about green.
That's the tagline of the US prison system, isn't it? Danny then orders some drinks for us and starts talking to Hendrix about the Singapore disaster, but their conversation is rudely interrupted by this melon spilling his drink.
Fool! You shame us in front of our guests!
Danny, if that was an etiquette issue, stabbing a man's worse. Oh, look, now he's whining about how no one came to save them during the Singapore disaster.
You know who was there? The 54 Immortals.
They were really there for these people.
If not for the Immortals, we wouldn't even have electricity in the
Yeah, but you work for our enemies at the CDP, so we're gonna have to kill the lot of you. Oh look, now the Goes have walked in and they're telling us why they hate us so much. Right, because we killed their people. And just as I open my phone to browse social media out of boredom, some friendly bots shoot the place up and gave Go me in a chestful, but Go Zilong got away. We're not in a hurry to catch her though for some reason. Time to fight through the biodome.
Looks like the Nile River Coalition are in town.
Oh, I didn't know the Nile went through Singapore.
What, are they on a vacation?
Nah, I think Treyarch just wanted to reuse the assets they made. It was upon shooting this poor sod through a concrete balcony that I remembered how low the stakes were until...
Help me, please.
Whoops. Just kidding, shooting these civilians meant nothing. And then I died, except not really, because that perk I got at the start basically gives you an extra life. Just like my granddad used to say, it's easier to shoot the fleeing ones. I gave Overdrive a go, which makes you slightly faster at everything for a bit. It's kind of boring. So boring I resorted to no-scoping things just to feel something. Then the mind starts to wander. Why did games from this era have such a fetish for shipping crates? Hang on a minute, a new enemy type? This might be difficult.
We don't have the firepower to fight these things!
Let's see here, we've got 3 grenades and a sniper rifle. Turns out we have the firepower to fight these things. Oh, you thought a solid concrete floor would protect you? I promise I'll use other guns later on. I've just become quite attached to this penis-clad bolt action called Fat the Nut. And it's not like you're incentivized to switch your weapons up, because picking up weapons is a perk. You get the best weapons right at the start, and everything has 1 billion ammo. And even if you did somehow run out of ammo, there's so many pickups lying around that even my girlfriend couldn't help but notice.
There's always an ammo box pop up, just wandering about the screen.
Hendrix and Kane then warn us about a new enemy type called a Wraith.
Do not engage the Wraith unless it's unavoidable.
Sounds scary, might take more than 4 sniper shots. Couple of dead turrets later and oh no! Go Zilong's figured out how to send that data directly to the CDP instead of putting it on a terminal in a shipping crate. So Hendrix enacts a cunning plan to just lamp her one in the face and use her biometrics to stop the upload.
User authenticated. Awaiting secondary input.
Secondary input? The f*** is that?
You know, it's like an input but secondary. What do you mean, what the f*** is that?
2 inputs gotta be interchangeable between each sibling.
The f*** is that? Is that?
Sorry, I couldn't resist. Anyway, we cut our hand off to use it on the other side and activate the terminal. I don't really know what purpose any of this served other than to show off some cool sci-fi tech, and the game just kind of moves on from Go Zilong being on the floor down there, so expect her to show up again later.
I need you to use your DNI as a conduit for the transfer.
Say what?
We need to perform an accelerated upload and wipe of everything on those drives.
Say what? The f*** is that?
Kane is about to use Hendrix's DNI to wipe the data, but I just want to point out how early his lips start moving before he speaks.
Data at the dock.
Better not mess up my brain, Kane.
Please mess up his brain, that'd be so f***ing funny.
Hendrix, you okay?
He's fine.
Yeah, he looks fine to me too. Anyway, we've wiped the drives and it's time to leave. Do you guys know what Chekhov's gun means? Because this game has Chekhov's VTOL. Every time you see one, it's gonna come down. We land safely on the roof and Hendrix goes over Plan C, which is to fight across this futuristic rendition of the Singapore super tree grove and hijack a boat. Slide down the roof, punch someone in the throat. Hey, look, another VTOL. Why does the military even bother making these things? I went down trying to melee everyone, but it's alright because I killed this guy after I shot his gun. It's another cool piece of level design, this, and I like ziplining between the towers. Where's this guy think he's going? Something about these zip lines just makes the AI brain dead. See? Oh look, it's that Wraith I'm supposed to be scared of. There we go. Oh no, they're burning down the final super tree to cut off our exfil route. I guess we better hurry up. Sorry, it's just the screen shake.
This place is an inferno!
Hang on, let me just...
Elevators. Use your Z-track.
Alright, okay, let's go. And by let's go, I mean stand here and see if there's a fail state.
You wanna die here?
Don't stand in a burning super tree, Sun Tzu. Jump, boom, splash. Time for an airboat turret section. Oh no, the Ferris wheel's coming down. Of course we're fine. Oh no, another Wraith. Thank God it missed every shot and then crashed into this building before treating us to an amazing depiction of physics whilst Hendrix slides about like a dishcloth on a dashboard. And not a speck on us either.
Hey, you think Kane's right? You think Taylor's team killed our people?
Hendrix shakes his head and says nothing.
Hendrix, what'd you see?
I saw bull. That's what I saw.
That doesn't answer the question. We're fading to black again. Considering the previous mission set up a murder mystery involving Train Go Boom Man, it's annoying to me that the subsequent mission didn't nudge that plot forward. We're just protecting data for the CIA again, meeting some forgettable villains with boring half-baked motivations and speculating with a man too grumpy to get his words out. The game unbound all my keys again, so after painstakingly sorting that out, I bought a couple new weapons, and the sensory buffer perk in my tactical rig, which reduces flinch when shot. You can only choose 2 perks from the tac rig, so I kept those 2 for the entire game because the rest sounded For reference, 2 of the other choices are wall running and picking up weapons, which shouldn't be a perk in my opinion, and the other 2 are locked behind levels, so by the time I unlocked them I forgot they were there. The mission starts with footage of Taylor's team committing the murders. Hendrix copes by calling the footage fake, but he might be right unless Taylor really can summon crows from his eyes. Turns out that intel has leaked anyway, which has both destabilised Winslow Accord operations globally and rendered the past 2 missions a huge waste of time. But that's alright, we're about to advance the plot by following Taylor to his last known operation, where he was tasked with responding to an alarm triggered at the Coalescence facility that caused the Singapore disaster. So that's where we're going. Then we zoom in on Hendrix's low-res eye for some reason, and our dullard of a player comes waddling over clad in horrible weapons skins. Kane warns us about the presence of 54 immortals, and Hendrix says,
No
because he's a man-child.
Multiple avenues of approach, spread out.
Did the level designers write that line? I've been praising the level design so far, but funnily enough, this is the most linear level so far. This is where I bumped the difficulty up to veteran, which basically means get shot once and your health's at a single nib. Oh no, an ASP, which is basically a mini-boss you have to shoot multiple times a small arms fire first for some reason, and then hit it with rockets. Repeat this process about 3 times, and hallelujah, you've killed 1 out of a million. Oh look, Hendrix has showed up to act like he hasn't been useless this whole time. Now I've got to wait for him to reach this door even though we open it.
Never a dull moment, huh?
Shut up. Ugh, the system's come back online. How very spooky. Hendrix has found some fresh corpses for us to sniff. So Kane asks the very reasonable question as to whether this is related to Taylor's doing, but Hendrix gets all mardy about that.
Yeah, but in all honesty, you have to know what a dumb question that is. Of course this was Taylor's work. CIA brought them here because these f***ing goons were sniffing around.
Pay no heed, Kane. Just in a really bad mood.
Being a volatile, mardy is literally this guy's only character trait. He then sends out a recon drone and delivers perhaps the goofiest line in the whole game.
Hey, you know what they say about staring into the abyss?
It stares right back.
Let's go.
Oh, let's go, of course. Hey, look, an abyss. Let's go.
Stick to the ledge.
Well, now you're just contradicting yourself. Uh-oh, there's some scary banging sounds up ahead. Looks like the robots have gone all funny. Kane suspects it's due to some kind of power surge, and Hendrix says,
That power surge isn't normal.
Because he's a baby who has to feel included. I think the game's trying to be scary right now, but... Yeah. Gee, I wonder why this robot corpse has a red reticle when I aim at it.
Whoa! Whoa!
Oh good, the robots are killing him. And me, apparently. There is actually cover over here. That makes this a little easier. Turns out someone's controlling the robots, so Hendrix asks who, but Kane's like, So deeper into the facility we go. Kane suggests using night vision, and I don't know why I oblige, because like I said earlier, you see less with it on. We lose feed to the recon drone, and player says something about finding it, but I can't see it. Then there's something about a sign, but I don't see any signs. Apparently its designation implies we're at a CIA black project. Oh look, I turned night vision off, and now I can actually see. What we got here then? Spicorus. Wait, hang on. SP Corvus. Oh, like the bird. Very clever. I don't get the metaphor, but now I know why I keep seeing them. But what the hell were they up to down here, and why is there robots scattered across the floor? Might as well pre-break them, because they're definitely going to get up. Oh look, they got up. Thankfully they died to a takedown like anything else, but don't let them hit you, because they'll one-bomb you. Didn't think it'd let me intervene on this scripted sequence, but it was worth a go. Hack the panel, open the door, and there's stinky corpses in here. Kane asks Hendrix to check the control panel, and I just want to point out how he says okay.
Okay, Kane.
Is that? Say what?
Okay.
Turns out we're stood in a giant DNI trial that shouldn't officially exist yet, meaning Coalescence were up to something shady down here, so Hendrix holds his neck for a bit. Then speculates these people were forced into the trials, evidenced by the fact we find Jae Zhong of all people in one of the tubes. You know, the guy who apparently likes to cut their eyes out.
That makes no sense.
That's how I felt about the entire story, which isn't helped by the fact nobody knows what Coalescence and the CIA were up to down here, other than the fact they used involuntary human test subjects. Now the whole situation is making Hendrix suspicious of Kane because she's CIA.
Just keep your eyes and ears open, especially around Kane.
Suspicion I didn't trust because Kane is the only character that tells us what's going on. Speaking of which,
I'm seeing network activity from a server room a few floors down.
So let's go, I guess. God, I forgot how hideous my weapon skin was.
Lights out ahead. Switch to your EV.
Abso-fucking-lutely not. We give Hendrix a leg up so we can get this door open for us, except one slight problem.
I didn't open it.
Very spooky. But not as spooky as a room full of water with robots that keep getting up out of it, except you can just shoot them all before they finish the getting up animation, so not that spooky. I do appreciate the horror vibe this level's going for, but it falls as flat as a bike ride through a porcupine sanctuary. Up next in the cyber funhouse is the Hall of Robots, where you can't just pre-kill these ones. So when they eventually did bust out their pods to creepy music, they whooped my ass. But then I ran past them all, problem solved. I then found a mobile armory and gave this shotgun a go, which turned out to be good here where the enemies rush you, but to anyone beyond 20 meters, it hits like a hippo's fart. All aboard the exposition elevator. Oh hey, it's our old pal Diaz, the guy who can't shake hands for and he's come through to say a bunch of cryptic crap like,
"There's blood on our hands that we cannot wash away."
So naturally we learn nothing from this exchange, at least until Kane comes through to tell us that Diaz has hooked himself up to a central computer and has been controlling all the robots, but not only that, he's trying to upload more incriminating data to the CDP. That's 3 missions now we're fighting to protect data we don't even know the contents of, made all the more confusing by the fact Kane's told us the intel has already leaked, so what's the point? Let's go stop him, at least I will when I figure out the door behind me has opened in the elevator. Good luck if this has ever happened to you. We've got something of a boss fight on our hands now, where we've got to survive waves of robots until one of the cooling towers opens up, then shoot it or throw a grenade in, then climb the central tower where Diaz's stupid body is stored and throw a grenade in there. Repeat this process twice more and you're done. Sounds easy, right? Yeah, it probably would have been if I didn't bring a shotgun.
Yeah, from the surface.
Also, whilst we're fighting him, he keeps saying stuff like... And... This will be relevant later. Anyway, the tower falls and Diaz is dying, I guess. The Kane asks Hendricks to interface with his DNI and pull all the data from it, but there won't be any about handshakes. Problem is, doing so will kill him, like that terrorist from earlier that had no bearing on the plot. So it's time for another Hendricks temper tantrum.
You know it'll fry his goddamn brain.
I know.
I don't think you do. This is someone I know. Someone I fought alongside. You shouldn't go out like this.
It's okay, Hendricks. I can see it. Frozen forest.
Say what? F is that?
Now I've got to add Frozen Forest to the list of things that'll get explained later. Whilst interfacing with Diaz's DNI, Hendricks falls to the floor in pain.
Kane, did you get that?
Get what? What did you see, Hendricks? Did you get anything?
All right, stop being dramatic and tell us what you learned, Hendricks.
Hendricks!
Hendricks, for sake!
Taylor's looking for 2 survivors of the Coalescence disaster.
Thank you.
He's already left Singapore.
How the hell did he get transport?
You don't betray your country without making new friends.
Oh no, Gojulan is back with a robot hand. She's here to get revenge for her dead brother by enacting the bad guy kills subordinate cliche.
Flood it.
My men are still down.
Now!
So I guess we've got to get out of here.
Kane, I hope you got a plan because we're about to drown.
She does, and that plan is to blow the doors and flood the lab so the water pressure sucks us out. Yes, you heard that right. But first I've got to guard Hendricks while he hacks this door panel. In the meantime, Kane identifies the 2 survivors of the Singapore disaster that Taylor is after, Sebastian Kruger and Dr. Yusuf Salim, with Sebastian Kruger being that shady-looking guy we saw in the hospital. Can I just say I love when exposition is delivered during combat because it really helps me concentrate. Cheeky bit of underwater combat and it's time to get sucked out. Boom, oof, ow. Don't laugh at the goofy limb flailing. Did we just clip through that? Ow. Oh good, the Immortals have started throwing depth charges down. If we try and go around them, they'll... boom. So we're gonna have to shoot them. Sounds simple enough. The 5th time's the charm?
Grab it!
Did he just kick me in the face? Oh no, an enemy Vita. What a waste of resources. So because Diaz leaked intel on all the safe house locations, the Immortals are after Kane, so in the next mission we're going to go save her. So what did we learn this mission? Well, we learned that the Black Project was a DNI trial that happened before DNIs were officially a thing. And the project featured the use of involuntary test subjects, which might explain why Taylor defected to the CDP because he was so disgusted by it. We also learned that Kane is our CIA liaison, which is why Hendricks is suspicious of her, because the CIA have links to the Black Project and evidently want it covered up based on all the data we've been chasing. And finally, we've learned that Taylor is after 2 survivors of the Singapore disaster caused by the Black Project. But we're still yet to find out how and why the disaster even happened, what the goal of the Black Project even was, or how those 2 survivors are related to the project. And we're not going to find out until after we've saved Kane. Now we're at a new safe house where Hendricks is arguing we shouldn't save Kane because he's a paranoid little who will clearly use any excuse not to save a hostage.
The Immortals are out for revenge. By the time we get to Kane, there'll be nothing left of her.
Yeah, whatever you say, Mr. Heimlich Maneuver. I've just bought active camo, so we'll see about that.
So now the world knows it was a CIA Black Project that led to the disaster that killed over 300,000 people.
Just add it to the list of controversies on the CIA's Wikipedia.
If we don't get Kane out, no one else will. He's smart. She's a survivor.
I swear to God, if this is the start of a romance, I'm going to chunder. Now we're at the edge of the Singapore quarantine zone where we learn the Immortals are indiscriminately hanging and burning everyone in their path, so we better hurry up. At least this is a door and not a girder.
Hear that? I hear it.
Oh, I guess we better be quiet. Didn't think that'd make a difference. After we kill these deaf bozos, it's time for Hendricks to bust out another flaccid one-liner.
Let's do what we do best. Kill some bad guys.
Hoorah! Wee! Bang! Let's give active camo a go. Oh, now we're cheesing it. At least this is a gate and not a girder. Now to resume our tour of watching the Immortals execute civilians, I guess. Just in case you forgot they were the bad guys.
Stay low.
No. I should have stayed low. I gave this revolver a go, and my favourite thing about it is that it doesn't have a reload animation. I like to think he just discards it and pulls out another one. Now Taylor has hijacked our comms to tell us he leaked that sensitive intel to expose the CIA.
You gave up classified information to the enemy.
I told the truth. Behind a slick corporate front, the CIA conducted illegal human experiments. Experiments that would one day blow up in their face, leaving hundreds of thousands dead and even more left to suffer in the aftermath. Ask yourself, who's the bad guy in this situation? The people who survived a catastrophic event right on their doorstep? The f***ing suits and yes men who covered it up?
Both. Fair enough, be angry at the CIA for causing the disaster, but don't immolate your neighbour over it. It's not these guys' fault, is it? Anyway, Kane's gone dark, so we need to hurry up. So Hendricks hands me a silent sniper rifle and scouts out the rooftops. So naturally, I sniped everyone through the same bookcase. We regroup with Hendricks, and hey, why don't I get throwing knives? I felt bad cheating on the fat nut with that silent sniper, so after I clean half of them up, I hit this absolute clip. Oh. Who's the ability? I'm not there anymore. What the f***? Right, it's time to spam takedowns on everyone. Like this guy who I elbowed in the spine. Or this guy the game delivered to me from heaven. Finally, we're making some progress.
You sure you don't want to call this off?
Not a chance, Hendricks. We're not leaving Singapore without her.
The safe house has been breached.
Good to know you're still kicking.
Hendricks, you two-faced You've been justifying leaving her behind this whole mission.
Did you hear Taylor coming through on comms?
He contacted you? What did he say?
Are we going to answer her?
What did Taylor tell you?
I guess not.
They're coming in.
Too late, we've lost comms. Then player says...
No. This is something else.
I don't know what it means by that, but then a weird sound plays and the lighting changes, so I'm starting to think that glitch was intentional. That's the beauty of sci-fi, isn't it? You can blame all of your game's visual bugs on it was just a glitch in the Matrix. Apparently anyone can access our comms because now Gojulan's here to give us a telling off. And I just want to say, it really sells her point watching the Immortals throw someone off a building. She's just upset we killed her forgettable villain of a brother during a cutscene I barely paid attention to. One question, how did Gojulan get access to our comms protocols?
I gave her access to our comms protocols.
Oh, train go boom, man. And he's just told us, albeit very cryptically, that he's after Kruger and Salim to find out who's responsible for the disaster. Boom, another ASP fight, my favourite. Thank God there's rocket launchers scattered about for just such an occasion. Shoot the thing, rocket the thing, we're done. At least it's a destructible wall and not a girder. These turrets would have been useful if I brought the right cyber core. What am I talking about? I can just go invisible. And here we are, the burning husk of a building Kane is in. Well, that's not good. What do you know? Hendricks wants to bail again, but players having none of it.
She's dead! Accept it!
Now Gojulan's back to tell us she's sticking hot pins up Kane's or something, I don't know. No, Private Foster! I think I'm more sad about his death than Diaz's. Eventually I made it, and there she is, tied to a chair. But as we start getting her out of there, Gojulan shows up with a bit of hot wood. Although she might have a robot arm now, we've got 2 robot arms, legs and balls, so let's roast her face like a f***ing marshmallow. Kane isn't talking for some reason, but she'll be fine in the next mission, so who cares? Let's rub the fact we saved her in Hendricks' stupid face.
You got something to say, Hendricks?
I just noticed you got a lot of blood on you.
First of all, you've got red on you. Second of all, no we don't. Are you capable of saying anything that isn't Mardy or gibberish? God, I loathe this meat stick of a man. Right, let's get the plot moving again. Back at the safe house, player mentions Kane is in recovery, whilst Hendricks reckons with the fact that his former friends have turned against him.
So, you're okay with this?
Okay with what, Hendricks?
Okay with the fact that people like us, our former friends, decided to turn traitor. And now we've got to hunt them down.
Their actions have destabilized the entire WA. So yes, you bet your ass, I'm okay with this.
Moral of the story being, whistleblowers are always traitors, even if they're your friends. I don't know why I decided to give this shotgun and the Chaos Cybercore a go. I was always going to prefer active camo. Anyway, now we're off to go see that Yusuf Salim fella who's being held by the Egyptian army in Cairo, one of our few allies left in this losing war. Now we're on a subway.
Hey, you still with us?
Yeah, I just zoned out for a second there.
That's how I felt about the entire story. See, look, Kane's fine again. Look at how f***ing slow we're walking. Have I really got to drag my metallic balls all the way up this staircase this slowly? It's not even like any essential dialogue is delivered during this. They're just speculating on why Salim's here. Oh hey, it's Lieutenant Khalil, who you won't remember from being tied to a ceiling in Mission 1. And he's a little underwhelmed we didn't bring more firepower to help against the NRC. So Hendricks sets him straight.
You want help? Get in line.
Can I get help with my legs? Because I think they've gone wrong.
We have less than 1,000 men, a dozen armored vehicles, and a squadron of VTOLs.
Well, it ain't worth mentioning the VTOLs. Whilst I started checking out the NPCs out of boredom, Khalil mentioned something about Raul Menendez, which is one of the 2 tenuous links this game has to the first 2 Black Ops games. I'm sure the fanfare was immaculate. Dr. Yusuf Salim's in the interrogation room now, and I've just slipped something in his drink, because it's time to play good cop, bad cop. I wonder which role Hendricks will take.
Have a seat! I got this. Take a walk.
He starts off by asking Salim if he knows who Taylor's team is, to which he says no, before moving on to his involvement with the Black Project.
You were involved in a biotech company called the Coalescence, or more specifically, the CIA Black Project running out of its basement.
I worked as a behavioral psychotherapist for the project's test subjects.
That's the only thing we're going to learn in this scene. Hendricks then asks if the test subjects are volunteers, and Dr. Salim's like, nah, lol. But we already knew that given we found that Zhejiang fella in one of the tubes, so Hendricks politely asks a third question.
What is the frozen forest?
Here's a cool legal fact. You don't have to answer the interviewer's question if an explosion goes off nearby.
Maybe Kane should run a diagnostic.
Listen, if I need a checkup, maybe I'll ask the damn doctor.
Oh, go to therapy, Hendricks. Kane lets us know that it's the NRC bearing down on our position, so it's time for another classic Hendricks one-liner.
It's an all-out assault.
Let's take it to him.
So we boot this door open, and oh good god, there's a ball covered in razors, meaning this poor schmuck, and now it's just gone boom, turning him into a meaty pincushion. Quite a memorable way of introducing an enemy type, that. At least it would have been if the only time they'd show up again wasn't when I was distracted by my own firefly. fireflies. At least I know now the fireflies don't hurt robots. But immolation does. In fact, it blows up clusters of them. Ugh, now we've got to help the Egyptian army fight the NRC, so I guess the plot can wait. At least this is a big bit of rubble and not a girder. So this VTOL takes off with a giant portable wall, and Khalil pulls up in the whip before going over the plan, which is simply to go blow up these old metro tunnels. And I just want to point out, the only reason Hendrix and I are helping with this is because we didn't wait 2 more seconds for Salim to answer the question about the frozen forest and what it is. How does the Egyptian army even get VTOL pilots to sign up? And it's dropped that wall in a crap position.
What was your plan, Boy Scout?
The spike launchers were used to demolish buildings. We plan to use it to weaken the tunnel supports.
Spike launcher? Oh, that's good. And you can even press F to make it... This is the coolest gun in the game, and it only lasts this one section where we've got to run up to these red rectangles and shoot them. Wait, did I just miss? Repeat this process about 4 more times. And hallelujah, we've helped the Egyptian army. Can we advance the plot now, please? Sergeant Rashid, you've got me. Still a sadder death than Diaz. Now it's time to retreat back to the wall and detonate those explosives, except it isn't working for some reason and a robot's just punched this guy in the chest. Oh, cheers, Hendrix. Then player's eyes go all funny and it works again. I don't know what this means, but Khalil is very thankful.
Can we get back to our prisoner now?
That's what I'm saying.
Guess not.
Whilst I was fixing my loadout, the station we were just interviewing Salim in gets ambushed. Then Kane tells us...
It was Taylor. They took Dr. Salim.
Because of course he did. Hendrix then accuses Kane of collaborating with Taylor out of paranoia, but then Taylor comes through to clarify.
She's telling the truth, Hendrix.
Taylor? I don't know what the hell's going on.
That's how I felt about the entire story.
You know everything. You just don't know it yet.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is my pick for the worst line in this game. Give me my active camo back and let's give this LMG a go. I mean, it speaks for itself. At least this gun actually has a reload animation. Go on, yeah, slot it in there. Oh, that's nice. And now whenever I take the slightest lick of damage, I can just go invisible and return fire. Or do disrespectful stuff like this. Was that a Roblox oof? So after scratching my arse up some stairs, we find a friendly VTOL in its natural habitat of crashed, before opening the cargo ramp with a spot of masculine grunting. This poor pilot's got a bit of rebar through his chest.
Help me, please.
Damn. Damn indeed, because then the cockpit separates, killing the pilot, but we're fine, so who cares? Yay, another ASP fight. Look what I've just found. Shoot, rocket, shoot, rocket. Oh, you've got a bombardment attack, have you? I'll just put a roof over my head then. Shoot, rocket, shoot, rocket. That one took ages. Are you actually f***ing joking? Another one. Thankfully, this one's just rockets. Then Taylor comes through with more infuriatingly cryptic dialogue about how he needs Dr. Salim, before begging Hendrix to believe it. But I reckon a more convincing argument would be to actually tell us what's going on. But considering he then says,
We're supposed to be like friends.
I don't think he's all there anymore.
All you have to do is let us go.
There's that letting go theme again. Don't know what it means though. Also, I didn't even hear it the first time around for 2 reasons. 1, because the dialogue mixing is ass. And 2, because I was annoyed at the 3rd f***ing ASP I had to fight. Shoot, rocket. Oh, thank God the screen's fading to black, and after a weirdly long pause, Hendrix says...
That's the last of them.
But no Steam achievement because we're fading back in. You see, player thinks we're missing something.
Missing what?
Where's the dead system?
The dead system being the game's fancy name for anti-air systems. Can we f*** off with these acronyms? Of course, the VTOL's carrying more ASPs for me to fight stay in the air. Khalil berates player because the Egyptian army lost ground, and laments the fact we've lost Dr. Salim, but player has an ace up his sleeve.
Kane, you got a fix on that tracker I slipped Salim?
So that's what we slipped in his brew. Also, I can't believe his I slipped that bitch a tracker because I'm so badass face isn't played for laughs here. Especially since after Kane tells us where they've gone, he does it again.
See you at the safe house.
Oh, here we go. Hendrix is now getting all paranoid about us for not telling him about the tracker plan, so we call him a nutter and he flattens us out for it. It's a good job player's the forgiving type, as he explains it was his plan and not Kane's, before gawping for a second. Hendrix then helps us up and offers a half-arsed apology.
I shouldn't have done that. I'm having second thoughts about this whole damn mission.
It's alright, Hendrix. We'll get you a lollipop on the way to find Salim. Now we're at a new safe house in Cairo, where it's time to get wedged between this wandering technician NPC and a corner.
When Taylor's team uncovered the Black Project, they threatened to go public. The CIA couldn't take the risk. They were called back to be silenced.
I assume by silenced she means waterboarded and locked in a box till they die.
Taylor's still speaking to us, even though we're off the grid. How can that be?
I think his DNI has become corrupted.
That doesn't make a lick of sense. I know why he's able to speak to us, but I can't tell you yet because it will spoil the ending. Anyway, during the cutscene, Kane is running diagnostics on Hendrix's DNI.
His diagnostics are showing some irregularities. Could be a minor calibration issue, but I don't want to ignore it, especially in light of his recent outbursts.
That's the polite way of saying he's an edgy stack of luncheon meat.
We can't let him compromise our chance to grab Taylor.
It won't come to that, Kane. I'll make sure of it.
I promise, if we get to kill Hendrix, this game's a 10 out of 10. Now we're in a VTOL, but uh-oh, Dr. Salim's vitals have gone dark, which means he's dead. Sarah Hall in a mech jump scare, and oh look, she's here to enforce Chekhov's VTOL. Let's add that crash to the tally, and of course we're fine, because we've got a boss fight on our hands. All I'll say about this fight with Sarah Hall is she spams rockets, and if you die right at the end, you have to start all over again. So I opted for cheesing it with active camo and rockets until...
She's down! She's down!
We need to quickly interface with her DNI before she dies in order to scour her memories for a lead on where Taylor has gone since Salim's tracker went dark.
Please don't.
So this is what we do now? Kill our own because they blew open a conspiracy in our own backyard.
Yes.
You don't know what this'll do.
Yeah, dude, it was you that told me what it'll do earlier. It's gonna fry your fucking bonslol. Or it could put me inside your mind, which is where we're going to spend the rest of this bat level. We've got some trees, we've got a spooky lightning sound effect, and is that a baby crying? I can hear some muffled voices when I approach these trees.
Should influence my decisions regarding it.
That best not be essential dialogue. Then we find that crying baby, and it's in one of the beds from the Black Project. That's dark. And then, oh no, digital baby. Now we flash back to the Black Project shortly before the disaster, where we hear a disembodied voice say,
"This is where I was born."
And it's a good job I had subtitles on, or I'd have had no idea who the said that, especially because this cutscene doesn't explain it to you. But for the sake of this video not being as confusing as the game is, that was the voice of Corvus, a rogue AI that was accidentally created by the Black Project. Thank me later. Ew, look at that corpse. Hang on a minute, if we're inside Sarah's mind, how is she having flashbacks to something she wasn't present for?
I remember, but it's almost like it was a dream. Like it was happening to someone else.
Oh, that's because Corvus has infected Hull's mind and is given her fake memories. But how did Corvus get in a DNI? The answer lies in this flashback, where Sarah recalls Taylor's team discovering the Black Project for the first time.
Human test subjects?
Great. This is in breach of every WA ethics mandate in the book.
Ethics mandate go boom. You see, they were originally sent in to cover up the disaster for the CIA by wiping all of the data. But upon trying to do so, Taylor contracts a nasty case of Corvus and makes a funny noise. Then Hall offers to recalibrate his optics without wearing a condom, so she catches Corvus and makes a funny noise too. Now we've fallen through the floor and into a wintry forest. A frozen forest?
I know what this is. This is best.
Oh, of course, the bastard. Who could forget that famous World War II battle? Now, why are we here?
I cited it in my final paper as one of the greatest examples of courage and bravery in military history.
And what relevancy does that have to the plot? Oh, she's just f***ing off in a blue orb, alright. Turns out a cybernetically enhanced super soldier would fare quite well during World War II. Who'd have guessed? Well, until the cloaking wears off and they absolutely drill me for it.
Why are we here, Sarah?
Great question.
Don't you know?
No.
So much suffering, so much pain. It wasn't just the enemy soldier.
That doesn't answer the question. Now the Earth's all shifting and stuff.
The dire wolves. At first they scavenged upon the wounded, the weak. Later
What a load of old here's what I think of your fucking wolf. Yeah, there's wolves now. Literally just the dogs from zombies thrown into the campaign. I don't know why. So I punched them all. Corvus is back.
Listen only to the sound of my voice.
I'm getting deja vu.
Imagine yourself in a frozen forest.
Oh wait, that was the stuff Diaz was saying. So I guess he caught the Corvus virus too, and subsequently passed it on to Hendrix. You're right there, love.
You forced a DNI interface knowing that it would scramble my mind.
Who cares, Sarah? You're another forgettable character. Now tell me what's going on or I'm going to shoot you. Oh yeah, she can just f*** off in her orb. Now the landscape's shifting away, revealing the entrance to that CIA facility we found all those eyeless dudes in Mission 3. We're finally going to learn more about that 5 missions later. Do you see why this game's so confusing? So apparently Taylor's team was recalled to the CIA under the guise of a diagnostics check, but the CIA were secretly going to kill them to help cover up the Black Project.
By the time we got there, the staff were already dead. Carved to pieces by a 54 Immortals enforcer by the name of Jae Zhong.
Jae Zhong's looking a bit Sarah Hall.
We saw the footage from the data drives. You did it. Why?
She doesn't remember killing them because Corvus made them do it after he infected their minds. But instead of answering our question, we fall through the ceiling and back into Sarah's surreal World War II dream because this game's mystery is stretched as thin as a jelly condom. We again ask her why we're here, and instead of answering, she says more vague crap about how she studied this battle back in her academic years, and there's more stuff about letting go.
Sometimes you have to hold on.
Sometimes you have to.
Oh, I see, you have to let... What a poignant theme. Just like these Nazis need to let go of their blood. A couple of utterly cheesed firefights and a Russian hat later, and it's time to squint because the screen's gone white. Because we're doing a bunch of Inception reality bending where up is down and left is right and concrete jump scares you. I liked pretending I was really short and then really tall. Now Sarah Hall is special interest dumping about German tiger tanks, so I guess we've got to fight one. Get back here. Tiger tank's dead. Hey, look at this really trippy skybox where when you kill Germans, their corpses fall horizontally. What's Sarah doing in this church? Tank jump scare, and oh no, it's about to shoot us, but just before it does, we teleport to an even bigger church. Then the tank comes back and morphs into, yep, you guessed it, another fucking ASP fight. Shoot, rocket, oh, god damn it, say it with me. Shoot, rocket, shoot, rocket, shoot, rocket, rocket. Please don't make me fight any more of those. More themes of mental deterioration now as Hall finally remembers she killed those people, but simultaneously doesn't remember it, because Corvus made them do it. Player then asks her where Taylor's gone, but instead of answering it, Corvus comes through to tell us we shouldn't be here. The game still hasn't told us who Corvus even is yet. Then the floor falls through and we land in a pool of Sarah's special dreamy brain water. Time for more exposition. Hall tells us the reason they leaked intel on the Black Project to the CDP was to gain passage to Egypt and question Salim about the frozen forest. So maybe we're going to finally learn what it is and why we should care. In the meantime, we've figured out where Taylor's team is hiding now, and it's at these old aquifers, which is a mobile water refinery out in the desert. This is where we're going in the next mission. Now we flash back to Taylor and co interrogating Salim about the frozen forest, where he explains it was nothing more than an idea he planted in the minds of the test subjects to calm them, which is the voice that Corvus and Diaz were talking about whenever they did the whole frozen forest speech.
It wasn't my fault. Something happened with the software that collated and streamed the test subjects' experiences. The project was no longer under control.
It was Corvus.
I was not to blame.
Then who was?
Salim points the finger at Sebastian Kruger, and we finally find out who he is.
A senior executive in Coalescence. After the disaster, he relocated to the headquarters in Zurich.
Well, that's one way to thank the man. That'll be why his tracker went dark. Now we're trapped in what is by far my least favourite section of the entire game, so here's my unedited reaction.
What the hell is that, for f***'s sake?
Oh my god, it's the zombies from Call of Duty Zombies. Yep, that's right, we're trapped in this tiny house, and in order to progress the story, we have to kill waves of zombies. All whilst the room gets smaller because of fire, and Corvus says a bunch of vague crap about letting her go. Does he mean Hall? I'd love to. Let me shoot her now. Anything to get me out of this insanely boring and drawn-out sequence. Good god.
The last second surge of chemical and electrical activity in a dying brain, short-circuiting the DNA. A flood of memories and thoughts. Half real, half imagined.
Yeah, that's alright, Hall. You ponder the game's themes while I get harassed by an advertisement for a different game mode. Now she's saying some crap about not being able to let go, and I have to end it, apparently. So I took the hint and shot her so fast she still had dialogue left.
Listen only to the sound of my voice.
Rip Sarah, can I go now?
How do I make this?
Oh, for God's sake. Then Corvus starts reciting the frozen forest speech and we're finally free of Sarah's dying brain. Back in reality, player comes to and tells Hendricks that Taylor's team is at the aquifers. Then we collapse and Kane rushes over to see if we're okay. So we explain that we were just trapped in Sarah Hall's dying nightmare and that something, Corvus, was trying to stop us by manipulating our mind. My favourite part of this exchange is this shot where my gun model's obscuring everything. Kane then says we need to talk, and this absolutely exposition-heavy nightmare of a level comes to a merciful f***ing end. It's time to assault the aquifers and find Taylor's team. So I picked up this semi-automatic rifle called Shiva and a couple throwables I completely forgot to use. But now I can take down 3 enemies in rapid succession. During the cutscene, we basically fill Kane in on everything we saw in Hall's mind.
I saw the human test subjects from the Black Project in Singapore. Something inside them screamed out in agony. It caused the whole disaster. It killed so many people.
It was Corvus, and I still can't believe they haven't explained what Corvus is yet. The phrase style over substance comes to mind. I'm having to drag my mouse so far off the mat in order to get a lock on this guy. Then the jet turned into a VTOL, except it zoomed me in for some reason and I didn't realise until I'd already died. This one technically counts. But then I got the hang of it and absolutely deleted these ASPs. Oh, they're turning into crows. You see, this level revolves around landing on various points of this aquifer, which is another interesting piece of level design. It's just a shame it's attached to this game. I just noticed when you're close to death, you can faintly make out a man's voice in the background.
You can overload the comm array manually.
Which sounds a bit like those inaudible voices we heard in Sarah's dream. This is foreshadowing. Oh wow, some drill parts! Now we've got to defend Kane while she hacks into an array. Except if you leave the 5-meter radius around her, she berates you endlessly.
Hey, you're supposed to be backing me up! What the hell are you doing? Get back here! Hey, you're supposed to be...
Oh my god! This is like how boomers describe marriage. You're constantly under threat, you're being nagged at by someone who doesn't even love you, and you've been ambushed by an exploding bollock. Wait, hang on.
Where are you going?
Please tell me that ball's on its way to kill her. That's karma, Kane. Second time to charm, I guess. Thank God we're finally done.
Let's get out of here. What the hell are you doing?
Oh, she had to get one more in, of course. Now it's back to the flying whip, so we can clean up the other side of the platform, including this floating man. Because now it's time to hack another array. Surely she won't mind us taking cover on the floor directly below her.
What the hell are you doing? Get back here!
Of course.
Spread out. Don't let us get flanked.
Spread out? Now you're telling me to spread out?
Where are you going?
Thank piss, we're done. Now Taylor and Moretti are planning their extraction with the NRC, so we're gonna go stop them. Let's go swimming. Oh look, Corvus is back doing the whole listen to the sound of my voice frozen forest speech again. And oh no, he's causing interference and shutting down our HUD. But it's alright, because Kane's saving us. So we sick up the water and ask her why our systems were shutting down.
I checked your diagnostics. You're showing the same symptoms as Hendrix.
What, getting annoyed at everything and not knowing what's going on? Wait, yeah, that is how I feel, actually.
I think the AI software running the Black Project made the leap too organic. It was born inside the test subjects, and now it lives inside all of you, slowly driving you insane.
Yeah, we're gonna die, boo-hoo. Just so long as player lives long enough to find out what the Black Project was actually trying to achieve, because we still don't know, but at least we're shedding some light on Corvus now.
It seems to be a distributed system. A hive mind, growing from the experiences of everyone it infects, consuming them.
The biggest tragedy of this game's story is that the thrilling sci-fi existentialism of illegal brain chip experiments accidentally creating a sentient AI that caused a huge disaster, lashing out in fear because it's a hive mind of unconsenting human consciousness, is buried beneath so many layers of woefully convoluted storytelling.
However this thing works, I'm still me.
Taylor.
No, my name's Player.
Go find him.
Oh, I see.
The only way to stop him is with a bullet in his head. I'll do it.
The only way to stop him is with a bullet in his head.
Anyway, then Kane's all like, no, we don't have to kill them. Come on, let's live outside the CIA and be safe and all that. And I honestly can't tell if it's meant to be written like a romantic suggestion. So we'll stick a pin in this and talk about it at the end. Time to open another door. That was jarring.
Taylor and Moretti, they knew we were coming.
So we kill the robots and go for another swim because it's time to provide air support for Khalil's men so they can access the control room and use the security cameras to find Taylor. Oh, there he is. So we close this big door separating Moretti from the rest of the group, and he should be scared with a badass like Player coming after him. I don't want to talk about it. The plan is to jump off the edge and rappel down to Moretti's position, but there's a lot of NRC forces in the way, so we ran past them all. Jump, boom, Jacob of the jungle, shoot the NRC.
He went this way, run, damn it!
Hendrix, slow down!
He's literally right there.
Hey, listen to me!
He's behind us now. But it's alright, the game will use a DNI glitch to make out he was in front of us all along, so it's time to confront him. Player tells him he's been acting differently because of the creepy brain STI he acquired after raw dogging Diaz's DNI. But Hendrix accuses Kane of stringing us along because she's part of the CIA who wants Taylor dead for exposing the Black Project.
That's enough, Hendrix!
Say what?
That's enough!
Hendrix then accuses us of being sweet on Kane because he overheard our conversation earlier about trying to flee outside the CIA.
You're losing your head! She's messing with my mind! What about what's going on in that pinhead of yours?
He does have a pinhead. I guess Moretti's trying to snipe us now. Wait, what? He can see us when we're invisible? We're gonna blow up these generators now, all whilst he says more cryptic crap like...
You haven't learned anything, have you?
And...
Aren't you worried about what's lurking in the darkness?
Oh, shut up. I'm gonna try and shoot you. Of course it didn't work. So we breach the room Moretti's in and point our hideous gun at him. He says some crap about exposing the truth before trying to shoot us, failing, gets absolutely punted out the window and shish kebabbed on some debris. Hendrix then accosts us for killing all his former friends and says...
So what, we gonna make it a clean sweep and kill Taylor next?
Hopefully. Then he goes on about how he's gonna shoot Kane, so Player absolutely fucking starches him. I'm gonna need that a few more times. All is right with the world. Player then reminds Hendrix that no one's coming to save us ever since the Winslow Accord fell and says you're all I've got. Oh no! The NRC have launched a barrage of missiles that make you hit the griddy every now and then. Walk a bit, hit the griddy, walk a bit, hit the griddy, watch an AC unit fall down, incredibly drawn out sequence where everything nearly falls on us, and then back to the VTOL jet to catch Taylor. This mission was a 10 out of 10 purely because... Back at the safe house, Player and Kane are talking about the best way to stop the Corvus virus.
All we can do is hope to contain it. If we can stop Taylor, you may have a chance. If we get you to the proper facilities, we just have to keep Hendrix on track.
Alright, fine, let's give the control core a go and hack some robots. More fast-scrolling text, but the bit we can read tells us Taylor has been tracked to something called Lotus Towers in Cairo. Then Khalil goes over the plan.
Once Hakim is dead, we get to the security station. Then we drop the dead system.
I don't know who Hakim is.
I don't give a about your uprising.
For once, I agree with Hendrix, but play the clip anyway. Hang on a minute, uprising? And we're in Cairo? Where have I heard this before?
Khalil was a hero of the Cairo uprising.
Was a hero? I'm starting to think there's some shenanigans going on with the chronology of this story, almost as if it's more extremely convoluted foreshadowing for the game's twist ending. Oh no, there's NRC at the door. That's alright, because we punch and kick them so hard their faces explode into clouds of blood. So Kane locates the nearest security station on the 25th floor. Meanwhile, we get to watch all these citizens fight back against the NRC, including this one you're supposed to save yourself. Get out of here, this is a private viewing. Alright, fine, I'll free him from his eternal torment. Be free, my little citizen NPC. Psych! During this firefight, Khalil says General Hakim is on the balcony outside and we need to brutally kill him to loosen the grip of the NRC on Cairo and inspire others to fight against him. Who better to spark a revolution than a man who hallucinates crows every few feet? So we open the door and there's the minor villain we've just been introduced to.
How the hell did you...
Crunch! It's extremely funny to me that this irrelevant villain having one line of dialogue makes it his main quote on his wiki page. So he launches his corpse off the edge and Khalil screams,
"Take back your city!"
Yes, you heard that right. The fanfare cut out unceremoniously. So like that one kid at school who couldn't accept his joke wasn't funny, he says it again.
Let us take back our city!
Crickets. Don't worry, Khalil, I heard it too. Oh look, there's something called a mobile shop over there that we're going to use to get to the 25th floor. So we clamber onto it and hallucinate some more crows. What a handsome fella. But the NRC have locked down the floor we're after. So after getting tunnel vision and somehow not seeing this explodey ball, thank God for the perk that revives us, Kane finds us the less glamorous path of climbing through an air duct to get to the security station. So Hendrix says,
"Really? That's the best you've got?"
Because he's a prima donna. Also, the crows are back. What a handsome fella. Upon exiting the air duct, we boot this grate into a man, then clean up the NRC with that funny reloadless sci-fi revolver before hacking into this terminal and hallucinating some snow. Kane overloads the system and Hendrix accuses her of showing off for Khalil for some reason because he can't go 2 seconds without spouting insufferable gibberish. We found Taylor. He's in a detention block on the 90th floor. So we cut to security footage where he's wandering about gurning and muttering to himself. So players all like, I think he's gone wappy. Oh no! They're breaching the wall. Not this time, explodey ball. Oh, never mind. You see, this surge ability lets you hack robots and they'll run at an enemy and explode. Now the dead system's down, the Egyptian army is flooding the place with VTOLs, and no, I'm not counting how many go down. But it's a pretty cool sequence watching it rip through these enemies with its minigun. After using surge a few more times, it dawned on me very quickly that in the time it takes to hack them and they run at an enemy and explode, you could have just shot them all. Time to ride another mobile shop. Master in there, Kane tells us, the crow hallucinating maniac, to watch over Hendrix. Hey, what a handsome fella. Meanwhile, Hendrix claims the Cairo uprising is futile and a new oppressor will just step in because he's a nihilistic cretin. Oh cool, wall running. What a waste of a perk slot. Now it's time to give remote hijack a go on this pause, which takes ages, because every time you take damage it pauses. We like to have fun on this channel. Your progress. Here we go, time to up. Except by the time I hacked it, most of the enemies were dead, and you can't leave the immediate area you've hacked it in. At least hacking these stationary turrets is fast, so I got some use out of that. I miss active camo. Oh no, the enemy's got it back, Hendrix. Oh, come on.
Taylor's through that door, go!
So we boot the door open and check our corners, and there he is, stood like something out of the Blair Witch Project. So he turns around, stares at us for a bit, and we tell him to stand down. Then this door opens and some willy punching bots walk through, so Taylor uses his Jedi Mind Force powers to hack them on side. Then Hendrix tries to coax some recognition out of him like a demented loved one.
Hendrix, that's right, brother. You still in there, John? Do you hear me? You don't understand. I'm taking us home. We'll be safe.
Blame the cryptic dialogue and his mental deterioration all you like, it's still annoying.
What the f is safe?
What do you mean, what is safe?
Say what? The f is that?
Taylor then starts walking off and Hendrix whimpers.
What is the frozen forest?
Then the robots blow up. I'd love to help you out there, Hendrix, but I've accidentally opened the chat box. Another chase sequence with cryptic dialogue like,
"You have to know where we're going."
Now he's doing the Dr. Salim Frozen Forest speech whilst we hallucinate more snow. So player tries explaining to Taylor that it's Corvus that's messing up his head, but he doesn't respond. At least this one's a robot punching a man through a wall instead of a girder. The noise this falling guy makes is hilarious. Now Taylor trying to flee with the help of the NRC via the landing pad on the roof of the second Lotus Tower.
Sandra, I need reinforcements at my location.
What is this game? Bang, bang, bang. Run across some props. All in good time for another DNI shutdown, where we're then treated to a 42-second long esoteric nightmare with the vibe of a Creed music video. Can you take me higher? Then we snap back to reality, get jump scared by a robot. Oh god! And finally, Taylor's making some sense.
We're all being used. Don't you see that? Once we put this shit inside our heads, we hand it over our souls to whoever held the keys. We're puppets. Actors playing out our roles. This time around, I'm the bad guy.
Hacker panel, right the shoppervator, and Kane tells us Taylor has commandeered a ship of some sort. I smell a boss fight. There he is, and I was right. So the big ship fires some rockets at us, misses, but we throw ourselves into a box anyway. And Kane sends a mobile armory up to our level with a minigun in it. But I opted for active camo and rocket spam instead, which didn't take too long actually. Sounds easy, doesn't it? Yeah, it probably would have been if it didn't spawn waves of explodey balls. Anyway, then the mothership comes crashing down, so we run away, but when we cut back to player, he's had his robot arm pinned by some rebar, which is a little confusing given player shrugged off some metal through his robot arm earlier. Then Taylor approaches us and pulls a knife, but it's not for us. Oh no, it's so he can rip out his own DNI. Then whilst he's reminding us that Corvus is still present in our DNI, Hendrix domes him.
No! Hendrix, what the f*** are you doing?
Oh, you know, just being a massive hypocrite given he roasted us for killing his friends in the previous mission. Then he jumps on board the NRC mothership that I guess didn't crash and says,
You won. You got what you wanted. Imagine yourself in a frozen forest.
This story is sh**. Now we're in a flashback before our surgery where Kane says,
If you go through with this, I can't be with you.
Be with you? What the hell are you on about? Kane and player have about as much chemistry as Mentos and piss. Oh, this is more foreshadowing for the game's twist end, isn't it? I'll explain this at the end. Alright, let's go hunt Hendrix and Kruger. Sorry, I just had to consult the screaming pillow because it just keeps going. During the cutscene, Hendrix says a bunch of vague crap and shatters into 100 crows. If someone comments telling me they've been ravens this whole time, I'm going to scream again. We're heading towards the Coalescence headquarters in Zurich, where this random security sergeant tells us the city's electrical systems are going haywire, causing cars to drive like rush hour in Britain. And it's all caused by Hendrix spreading his filthy Corvus around like a sci-fi slag. So we fight through this multi-story car park whilst cars randomly whiz past. At least this one's a car crashing through a wall and not a girder. And we finally made it to the Coalescence building, except we will after the game throws everything at us. We definitely haven't fought enough ASPs and PAWWSs and UPSs and UTIs and I spent what felt like an hour clearing out all these enemies, only to get bored, turn invisible, rush the panel and die just as I got in the door. Second time's the charm, I guess. It's a good job the enemies agreed not to shoot me when I was hacking this panel.
If Hendrix connects with the central mainframe, there is no telling how far the AI can spread.
Don't worry, Kane, I'm trying to blast through this game now, can you tell? So as you can see, Coalescence set up their nasty little black project in Zurich as well, despite levelling half of Singapore.
Ever heard of Nova 6?
Yeah, it's the gas that killed everyone that's only here to justify the Black Ops namesake. We interface with this destroyed terminal somehow, and Kane says we'll need to do a manual override to purge the gas.
Unfortunately, the reset can only be done from this side.
Well, that sounds safe. Oh, look, Corvus is here.
Hey, wait!
Too late, he's already released the gas.
Whatever this thing says, no matter what it does, you cannot trust it!
And then she sicks up her guts and dies.
Rachel!
We're on our own from here. One corridor of crows later, and we found Hendrix interrogating Kruger.
Don't move, Hendrix! I swear I will put you down!
I mean, he just moved and you didn't.
Do you know who this is?
Sebastian Kruger, sole survivor of the Coalescence Singapore disaster.
He's not the sole survivor.
Those test subjects, they're alive.
And they're in here.
What do you want from me?
We want to know who we are and why we are here.
I can't answer that.
I'll find out for myself.
Oh, this game's a 10 out of 10. We shot Hendrix. This day can't get any better.
I'm the only one left. I promised Rachel I'd stop it, whatever it takes.
Wow, turns out it can get better.
Hey, you still with us?
Oh, for God's sake, 0 out of 10.
You let this thing consume you, destroy everything that you were!
It's not like that at all. The artificial intelligence, let's call it Corvus.
See, this is what I'm talking about. If it wasn't for the subtitles, we'd only now be learning his name.
It wants to help us.
How is this helping us?
Would that help you understand?
What, a shadow boy with a hot tummy? No.
Frozen forest, it's real.
I can't listen with that guy watching.
And it's what comes next. Corvus has given us a way to live on after death.
Ah, so the frozen forest is a digital afterlife. Well, that sounds lovely, Hendrix, but because Kane said not to trust Corvus before she boffed up and croaked, players having none of it and going on a badass killing spree out of confusion. Did I say badass? I meant pathetic. Bang, 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 and oh look, it's Sebastian and Corvus waiting politely for us to approach before they resume their conversation. I love that it makes Sebastian jump when he speaks.
I need an answer.
Kruger then starts going off about how they created the DNI project to monitor people's thoughts in the interest of national security.
Do you have any idea just how much technology has changed every single aspect of our daily lives?
Well, these days we have a US president posting AI-generated colonialist propaganda on his official social media, so I'd say this game's dystopia pales in comparison. Then Corvus pretends to punch Kruger in the face and he floats off. At least these are flammable vines and not a girder, and now Hendrix is back to tell us we're going down a path that he cannot follow, but who cares, so we shoot him again. He's finally f***ing gone for good now. Now Corvus has got poor Kruger strung up by some branches.
Every soul I interact with is here, living beyond death, if I choose to allow it.
He then asks Kruger why he was created, to which he says,
"You're software, nothing more. You weren't created. You were designed to catalog and track the thoughts of others so that we, people, could decide what action to take. You were a glitch, a mistake."
Oh, Kruger, you're basically asking for a quarter in. Look, there he goes. Like a ripe tomato with a low-quality scream. So you remember that special AI software Taylor mentioned in Mission 2? Me neither, but stick with me. That software was designed to catalogue the thoughts of every DNI user in order to prevent terrorism, such as the incident with the train go boom. Problem is, when they put that software to the test during the Black Project, it became sentient after collating all the test subjects' thoughts and experiences, ultimately becoming Corvus, which then caused the disaster. So there we go, we're finally up to speed. Now train go boom man's back. Player asks how he's even here if he's ripped out his DNI, and Taylor's all like, I guess I'm a glitch in his system. But who cares, because we're in simulation land, so nothing needs to make sense anyway. Also, we were just in a cutscene. We walk over here, burn these vines, and it triggers another cutscene. What's the point? Why can't we escape the pointless doors even in simulation land?
You ever say or do something that you can't explain?
Oh hey Murray, long time no see. Are you here to foreshadow the game's ending as well?
Maybe it wasn't you that said it. You that did it.
I'll take that as a yes. Then we stare into this sci-fi rectangle where you can see the model clearly changed to Taylor's. Then we reach out to touch our reflection and it cracks and shatters. And although I had my hands off the keyboard, my guy ADS'd for some reason, so that was jarring.
All this shit around you, it's an illusion. You're still in the Zurich HQ of Coalescence. Corvus is messing with your head, trying to stop you from shutting it down before it can spread.
Fair enough, we better get moving then, and blast through these waves of simulation people that burst into crows and materialize elsewhere. Except what actually happened was I died and the game crashed, followed by the horrifying revelation that there's no incremental autosaves, so I had to start the entire level all over again. I bumped it down too easy just to blast through it, because I was desperate to beat the game at this point, and these vines that kept growing in my way felt like an insult. We've entered the cluster portion of the level now.
I'm gonna find you and I'm going to wipe you from existence. Do you hear me? I'm never gonna stop fighting. I will not let go.
Is this what all the themes of letting go were leading up to? Player refusing to accept he's in a digital afterlife. The f is this? I don't know, but we set fire to it and then a tree loses some branches, probably symbolic, don't care. And it triggers a cutscene where Corvus reckons with the fact he's a big mopey ball of other people's memories. Even the vetols can't catch a break in simulation land. Now player's doing the Frozen Forest speech.
Listen now to the sound of my voice.
So I guess he's letting go?
Let them wash over you like gentle waves of the bluest ocean.
Buy a can of the limited edition Call of Duty Black Ops 3 Monster Energy. This whole sequence is so goddamn drawn out, and the return of characters like Hall Corvus implies we originally gave a shit. Yeah, I definitely didn't shoot her in a heartbeat to get out of that zombies bit. We then find out Rachel Kane never had a DNI, so she's gone for good, but considering the alternative is living forever with these band of boring arseholes, I think she got it easy. Nevertheless, we push on, because if we can reach the central server, apparently we can purge our DNI and end this once and for all. Oh hey, a throwback to that incredibly iconic falling Ferris wheel sequence. Wait, is that the edge of the water there? Now players carrying on the Frozen Forest speech. Here's my favourite line deliveries.
You're standing in a clearing. The trees around you so tall they touch the sky. It cannot overcome the warmth of your beating heart. Do you hear it slowing? You're slowing it.
What is even happening anymore? Are you joking? I've got to shoot the depth charges again. So now we're done with that, it's time to burn another heart tree thing and trigger a cutscene where Corvus feels guilty about all the people who died in the disaster and questions whether or not he made Taylor kill Dr. Salim or if he did it of his own free will. But we're not going to get any answers from Taylor because he's losing his mind.
There's so much noise in my head, I can't even think.
This goes on for some time. Then we come to back in the central server room where Corvus asks us to stop fighting and approaches us for a hug. But Taylor intervenes.
This is your last chance! Show me what you're made of!
Bish bash bosh, DNI go boom, and oh, Taylor's disappeared. So we stagger through the facility whilst copyrighted music plays and Taylor starts reciting the Frozen Forest speech. And as we finally escape the facility, we're approached by the Zurich security forces.
Imagine yourself.
What's your name, soldier?
In a frozen forest.
I said, what's your name?
Taylor.
What? So what the hell just happened? Why did player just call himself Taylor? Before I answer that question, I need you to understand that I had to look it up, because in neither my initial playthrough nor this edit did I fully follow this game's story, which made me feel too stupid to make a video about it at first, but upon researching the story's meaning late into the early hours on community-ran wikis and Reddit threads, I quickly learned it's been left open for interpretation, but I'd go so far as to say it's a game that actively doesn't want to be understood. Like, look at this shit. Do you remember these loading screens with text scrolling by too fast to read? Yeah, they're actually excerpts from Taylor's journal that contain a ton of crucial information, including the earth-shattering revelation that player actually died on the operating table at the end of Mission 1. What, did this quick flash of Taylor being pulled away by doctors during Mission 2 not make it obvious, you moron? Yeah, that's right. We're doing the whole Alice in Wonderland it was all just a dream type beat, except with considerably more existential dread, because this information reframes everything that happens in the story in a new light. So what the hell did we experience in Mission 3 onwards, I hear you ask? Those were actually Taylor's memories and the events leading up to Mission 1, that player's dying consciousness was mistaking for his own actions. All made possible by Corvus infecting his DNI thanks to Taylor interfacing with him before his surgery. So in case you're not following me, the story has been split into two timelines. The real timeline centered around Taylor that we'll talk about in a minute, and the simulated version of the real timeline that we experienced. Now let's give the writers some credit, because there are a lot of interesting incongruities in the story that, when analysed, have been intentionally written to make a lot more sense once you find out player is dead and the story isn't chronological, such as Khalil being referred to as a hero of the Cairo Uprising in Mission 1, but we witnessed the Cairo Uprising start in Mission 10. Or this rare moment of lucidity from Taylor where he says, "We're all being used, we're puppets, actors playing out our roles. This time around, I'm the bad guy," which comes with the horrifying implication that their consciousness is trapped in an endless simulation loop. Or the part in Mission 7 where we shrug off some shrapnel only to get pinned by some shrapnel in Mission 10. This is because in the real timeline, Taylor didn't have cybernetics yet and was pinned by his biological arm. In fact, this was the incident that led Taylor to get cybernetics in the first place, hence why we get this confusing hospital scene where Kane says she can't be with us. Because if you remember this line,
"You still seeing Rachel?"
you'll know Taylor and Kane were in a relationship at one point, which also explains this scene where Kane calls us Taylor, but we assume she's talking about Taylor.
We'll find him.
Followed by her sudden request to flee with her outside the CIA. The idea that player is dead is also reinforced in the game's themes of unfamiliar memories, like this chat with Diaz.
You know how your senses can trigger vivid memories? Make you think of sounds, sights, words from songs. Make you think of stuff you haven't thought of in years. D&I can make that a lot more visceral.
Or when Sarah describes killing those CIA dudes like this.
We killed them all in cold blood. I don't feel like I remember it. Am I losing my mind?
Now, as fun as it is to sit here and list all the clever ways the writers foreshadowed the ending, the problem is that if you take away this complex meta-narrative, what you're left with is an incomprehensible and largely forgettable story, with any notion of praise for its depth undermined by the fact the most crucial information for understanding it is hidden in a loading screen you literally can't read without recording software or looking it up online. But don't worry, it gets even more convoluted because we're still yet to explain what happened in the real timeline. So if we read the rest of Taylor's loading screen logs, we find out Taylor, not player, was actually after a whole different team of people. It's just player's dying mind replaced those people with Taylor's team because it just wasn't convoluted enough already, was it? Taylor was actually after a man named Dylan Stone, who was the real person who uncovered the Black Project with his team, all of whom are never mentioned in the game outside of those loading screens. There's also a prequel comic that includes Dylan Stone and his team, but who cares, it's not in the game. All of which wouldn't be too bad if we at least had some memorable characters to latch onto, but I don't blame the voice talent for these characters being boring because it sounds like they didn't understand the story too, given how jumbled the deliveries can be at times. I think the worst part about all this is that, on paper, some of the ideas presented in this story are genuinely interesting, especially for a Call of Duty game. The idea of a dying super soldier mistaking someone else's memories for his own actions because his brain chip has been corrupted by a sentient AI that was created to monitor people's thoughts, but instead went rogue in a fit of confusion over its own existence, is a genuinely chilling and cerebral idea. It's just a shame this creative writing is buried beneath dreadful storytelling. And I have similar mixed feelings on the gameplay too. To say I didn't have some fun with this game would be a lie, because running around with active camo punching everything did help make me feel like a badass super soldier. It's just it'd also be a lie to say all of the game's mechanics add anything of value to the gameplay loop. Wall running is a shitty gimmick, and some of the cybercore abilities are so boring they feel like padding made to give you something to unlock at the safe house. And given you have nigh infinite ammo and can shoot through cover with wall hacks on, you don't really need to ever use them, meaning the only challenge to be found in this game is by setting yourself limitations or playing a gimmick difficulty, which is a crying shame because after the franchise's slew of brown-tinted boots-on-the-ground army shooters, it's refreshing to play something fast-paced, futuristic and complex in its themes. It's just a shame the only thing I'm going to remember is
train go boom, train go boom, train go boom, train go boom.
Here's some fast-scrolling text that reveals I was actually player all along.
Listen only to the sound of my voice. Imagine yourself subscribed to my channel, and then actually subscribe to it. Oh, and like the video while you're at it, mate.